first words of Jesus to his disciples after the resurrection always seems to be, "Peace be with you. Peace be with you." And we know that the Jewish understanding of shalom is not simply a negative connotation. It's not that you're just without anxiety or just without conflict, but it's a positive. It's a wholeness, that there's this wholeness within our being. And so Jesus is saying, I grant you, I wish you a wholeness, that you become full of peace, not just lacking conflict, but filled with the peace of the Lord. And then they go on and they're startled and terrified. They thought they were seeing a ghost. And it's a reminder as Jesus goes through this whole thing, like, no, look, I am physically resurrected from the dead. That he shows us first by that there's this touching. He says, look at my hands and my feet. That is I myself. Touch me. Touch me. Ghost doesn't have flesh and blood. Whoa. Do you have anything to eat? Okay, this will prove it to you. If I eat this fish, okay, now you can see that I'm not a ghost. That he's showing us that he wants to resurrect our bodies, not just our souls. That we as humans are a composite of body and soul. And we're meant to be body and soul together forever. Which is why the horror movies out there, they're always, when you look at it, it's about either ghosts or zombies or something like that. The zombie is a body without a soul, and the ghost is a soul without a body. And there's something wrong with that. We look at that and we say there's something wrong with this. And while, of course, in the meantime, when we go to heaven, please God, it is just our souls right now, they're still not at our fullness. At the end of time, the resurrection of the dead, with the last judgment, God will reunite our bodies and our souls in a glorified body. And somehow they will be the same as Jesus had the holes in his hands and his feet. Somehow there was something the same. And somehow they'll be different as he was able to walk through locked doors and disappear from view and didn't get recognized by Mary Magdalene. Somehow the same, somehow different. But there's this truth that our bodies speak to who we are and also to who God is, because we're made in his image and likeness. As St. John Paul II said, the body, in fact, and only the body, makes visible the invisible, the spiritual and the divine. That something about the body reflects who we are and who God is. And too often, we either, in our culture, either put too much emphasis on our body or too little emphasis on our body. That we're ensouled bodies or embodied souls, that we were meant to be forever. Now, of course, in this broken world, both our souls and our bodies have problems. But in eternity, by God's grace and his mercy, when we get to heaven, and on the last day when we're reunited body and soul, then we won't have any of the problems with, I can't hear you as well as I used to, or see you as well as I used to. That all those things, when you have to get up 12 times a night, all those things will no longer be a problem. But in God's glory, we will see how we were meant to glorify God, body and soul, in this union of spirit and soul and body. May we turn to Almighty God and ask him to help us to see his presence. Recognize his presence in the body, which reflects, which makes visible the invisible, the spiritual and the divine.